All right, we will call the Plan Commission meeting to order. Good to see everybody here. Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Yes. I will move to approve.
Second.
And was there a second?
Second. Randy.
A motion second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. We've got a public hearing. Public hearing on a conditional use permit application for a temporary garden center at 2351 Cooley Road, Garden City LLC.
Yes.
Who's presenting? Who's talking? Tiffany or?
Tiffany.
We do have the applicant available to speak on his project if he would like to take the opportunity now to do so. Otherwise, I could go ahead and summarize everything.
Why don't you summarize, and then if we need to ask questions, we will. Please.
Sounds good. So Garden City LLC has applied for a conditional use permit to operate a temporary garden center. Operate a garden center at 2351 Cooley Road, located in the Family Fresh parking lot, or the former Family Fresh parking lot. So their site plan, they've provided a site plan for their entire project. I'll skip down to that so you can see that. And they've also provided a very in-depth narrative. I'll summarize that too for you all. So here's the site of the greenhouse. The proposed facility would allow for the sale of annual flowers, perennial flowers, nursery stock, hanging baskets, and other specialty items. They'll operate between April 25th and September 30th each year, depending on the weather. Setup and preparations each year are proposed to be between March 15th and April 25th, and hours of operation will be from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturdays, and 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. On average, there's expected to be about 5 to 6 customers per day, or not per day, oh my God, at any given time, sorry. And a total of 15 employees hired locally from the neighborhood surrounding Fort Falmar. Utilities required to run it would be water and power. Water connection will require the equivalent of a standard gardening hose, just to water the plants. And then power connection will come from nearby light pole in the parking lot. Garden City has also proposed to handle disposal of any garbage or unnecessary materials themselves. And as far as we're aware, no neighboring property or business owners were in attendance at the neighborhood meeting on March 11th, 2020, and staff has received one email and actually in support of the neighboring of the project. So if you have any questions, Camilo is available online right now to talk about his project.
I'd like to comment if I may.
Yeah.
We reviewed a bunch of these types of requests over the many years that I've been on the Planning Commission, and we haven't had trouble with any of them. They're good neighbors. They tend to take care of themselves. You know, they're putting themselves in front of the public, so they have to look good. So I'm going to say that I have no difficulty here. I'm even ready to bypass a one-year review to bump it out further than that, because we've never had anybody come back with any difficulties and complaints. Unless there's somebody else here that knows something different than myself, that would be my position on this issue.
Are we still in public hearing?
Yes.
Yep, we're still in public hearing.
I'd agree with Fred. They've been at the Plaza 94, and when I had my business over there, they were a great customer. Lots of people came in and out of there. We had no issues as tenants either.
Okay.
What do you need?
All right, so it is a public hearing. Is there anybody here that would like to comment? Any comment? If you are here for the public hearing and want to comment, please unmute your microphone, the bottom left of your screen.
You want to come in here and say something?
Any comment?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion is second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Public hearing is closed. Discussion and possible action on a conditional use permit application for a temporary garden center at 2351 Cooley Road Garden Center, LLC.
I move we approve. Are there any conditions or anything like
I got
that,
you, Mary Claire. Hang on.
Tiffany?
So conditions are to limit the setup period of March 15th through April 25th and an operation period of April 25th through September 30th annually. Any proposed signage shall require a sign permit through the Community Development Department, that the permit be reviewed in 3 years, not the one, and that the applicant adheres to all state, federal, and local permitting requirements.
Well, I move we approve with the conditions given.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Mary Claire, do you have questions or?
I just had a question. It's not clear to me. Is this the same one that's been in Plaza 94 in the past years and it's just moving to a new location? Or is this a new one and there'll be another one in the Plaza 94 location?
This won't be in the Plaza 94 location. This will be in the, this is a new company, by the way. They're going to be.
No, I understand that this one is in Family Fresh. I understand that. But my question is, will there be another organization that will be in the Plaza 94 parking lot?
No.
No, there might be. It's two separate companies and organizations.
So this is a new company going in the Family Fresh location compared to another company that was in the Plaza 94 in the previous years.
Correct. So Plant Place, they have a separate conditional use permit. It's not to be reviewed for another 4 years for the Plaza 94 location.
So they will also be setting up this year too. So there'll be two locations?
Correct. Two different companies with two different permits in two different locations.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yep.
I think I'm in the meeting now.
Hi, Pat.
Yeah, hi there. I lost our internet. We had no internet, was down and finally got it back on, but here we is. So I caught the last part of that. Apologize.
All right, anybody else? Frank or Pat, we are on the garden center issue right now. We've already closed the public hearing. Anybody else? Any other comments? So we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on a downtown design review for 206 2nd Street Sign Art Company, Inc.
All right, so Sign Art Company Incorporated, on behalf of State Farm Insurance, has submitted applications for approval of updating their wall signage. So 3 wall signs they're proposing at the 206 2nd Street location are an exposed neon wall sign in the window facing 2nd Street. It'll be about 6.25 square feet in area, but because it's going to be located in the building, it doesn't actually require a sign permit. And then vinyl door signage, that'll be less than 6 square feet in sign area is also proposed, but that doesn't require a permit either because it's below 6 square feet. And then the third sign will be a cabinet wall sign on the north facade. That'll be 32.41 square feet in area. Our code doesn't permit wall signs in the B3 zone to be greater than 10% of the wall area. The proposed sign, the only one that actually requires a permit in this case, is permitted to be up to 40 square feet in area based on the greater than 10% of wall area rule that we have. So they do meet code in all aspects of their plans. So staff is recommending approval of the Downtown Design Review Certificate on behalf of State Farm Insurance to install the 3 wall signs that they've proposed. So this would be their wall sign.
Does it clean the area up down there, Tiffany or Mike? It'll clean up the area down there on that wall. Look a little better.
You mean where the window is?
Yeah, where the signs are. And then is that neon?
I think it's pretty much just replacing the previous signs that were there, is it not?
Yeah, it's replacing what was there.
Well, Mary Claire, you got my number tonight or what?
Well, no. No, why do you say that? It's just a new agent there that, and so I think it's just changing the agent's name.
Yeah.
This one looks to be more channel lettering, not, a full cabinet
Mhm.
as opposed to the last one.
Okay.
So I think in some ways it'd be a cleaner look.
Move to
thank you for that
approve.
clarification.
Got a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
Motion a second to approve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion of possible action on a Marathon gas station downtown design review for 102nd Street, CAP Operations, Inc.
All right, let me just scroll down quick. So the Holiday gas station on the corner of like Buckeye and 2nd Street in downtown is going to be transformed into a Marathon gas station. So they're looking to reface a couple of signs on the property. One being the freestanding sign you see here. It'll remain the same, use the same cabinets and stuff. It'll just reface what's currently there. Code does permit freestanding signs up to 80 square feet in size, so that one does meet code as it is. Then the canopy above the pumps will also be updated to provide a name along that. We did ask the applicant if they were going to be updating the signage on the building, and they said they weren't going to. What they're planning on doing is just painting that to be a light tan color instead. With that being said, staff is recommending approval of the downtown design review certificate for Marathon gas station to reface their signage at 102nd Street.
I noticed Marathon is selling gas cheaper than Holiday.
Yeah, the previous image. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is there any lighting on the canopy or lighting on the freestanding sign that's different than what we've seen in the past?
You mean like the blue LEDs around the freestanding sign in this? They're not going to be using that, no. They'll be downgrading the lighting scale from what Holiday had.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll move we approve this, the conditions laid out.
I'll second it.
Got a motion a second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion possible action on recommending the Common Council set a public hearing date for a zoning map amendment from R1 one-family residential to R2 two-family residential for part of 497 Stage Line Road, Brian Martell.
So Mr. Martell, owner of 497 Stage Line Road, is requesting a zoning map amendment on a portion of his property, specifically the western portion of his property. He's looking to rezone it to R2 to allow for the development of either a twin home or a duplex type structure. The zoning request is consistent with 2030 comp plan land use designation of single two-family residential, so that doesn't need to be changed or updated. A neighborhood meeting was also held by the applicant on February 21st, 2020. The details for that, I believe, are included in here. With that being said, the applicant has submitted a draft certified survey map detailing the proposed land division. The new lot would share driveway access onto Stage Line Road with the current 497 Stage Line Road residents where he lives. That being said, staff is recommending for the Plan Commission to recommend the council set a public hearing date for the application, unless you guys have any questions or comments to make at this time.
Anybody?
Has the fire department looked at it? There's no access issues or anything like that? I mean, maybe I'm out of line here, but ask the question. Do they need to
I think that would be something that would come in when the development plans get brought up in terms of where they're located.
And access is going to be on Stage Line, not East Canyon?
Correct, yeah. There is currently an existing access there. So what we'll do is we'll merge the two driveways into one so that's not creating two.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll move that we send this on to the city council for a public hearing.
Second?
Motion and second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion
Brian,
possible-
can you hear me? This is Brian. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
I just want to thank you for your time. I want to step off. Now, I feel like I'm eavesdropping on your business here, but thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Discussion and possible action on a downtown design review for sign updates at 512 3rd Street, Brook Fleetwood.
Right, so the applicant, Brooke, has submitted applications for the approval of updating the freestanding sign that's currently at 512 3rd Street within the downtown overlay zone. The proposed sign update includes refacing the existing freestanding sign for BB Beauty Resort. The sign area will remain 20 square feet and the height will remain 12 feet tall, falling in line with everything that we allow within the B3 zone. The existing sign does allow for the sign to be lit, so that feature will continue to be used. That being said, the proposed sign plan is code compliant with everything presented as it was. So staff is recommending approval of the refacing of the freestanding sign at 512 2nd Street.
I'll move we approve with
Second.
conditions.
I will second.
Motion second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on a downtown design review for facade updates at 512 3rd Street, Brook Fleetwood.
All right, so for the same property, the applicant has also submitted an application to update the facade of the building at 512 3rd Street. Proposed updates include installing 3 larger windows. Here, let me actually go down to the image so you can all view it. Right there. Bit enlarged, but yep. So yeah, they're installing 3 larger windows, removing the stone from the front of the facade, painting the trim of the windows with an accent pink trim, adding a large plant box above the windows here for decor, and then adding decorative molding along the upper roof areas, and adding a fresh coat of paint on the front of the building. It'll be all white coat of paint. It's also proposed that they're going to include some additional signage too on the building for the beauty resort, and then BB logo right down here. Staff is recommending approval of the downtown design review certificate to update the facade of the building at 512 3rd Street. Sorry. Brooke is here to provide any comment to questions you guys might have. Otherwise, feel free to discuss.
So will the rest of the building be white then, or?
Yeah, it's actually, they're gonna paint it so that it matches the rest of the building. The other 3 sides are all white already. So now the front will kind of
Be white.
blend with the rest. Yep.
I'll move we approve with conditions laid out.
I'll second it.
Motion and second to approve. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on recommending the Common Council set a public hearing date and recommendation for amendments to municipal code to include Chapter 141, short-term home rentals, repeal 255-70, bed and breakfast establishments.
All right, so now we finally have a draft of the code for you all to look at. I'm hoping you all read through it. Last time you guys did, you provided us some valuable comments, so we did include, like, for example, the definition of a property manager in there. I know that was brought up at the last meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the proposed code amendment has been reviewed by the city attorney and city staff multiple times. It's been proposed that the new code chapter is created to outline short-term home rental licensing from the city. Operators would be required to submit appropriate room tax quarterly. The same license would be required for all short-term home rental types, including hosted and unhosted rentals, as well as bed and breakfast facilities. Staff is requesting that 255-70 bed and breakfast establishments code section be repealed to accommodate the new chapter. So yeah, basically we're asking for the recommendation of the Plan Commission of the approval of proposed code amendment to municipal code and recommend the council set a public hearing date for the amendments.
I have a question.
Yep.
Would, by doing this to a property, does that change the classification of the type of, the way it's taxed or looked at from the city? In other words, does it fall into it, you know, now all of a sudden it's not a residential anymore, it's a rental, it's a hotel, if you will. And so will proper classification of the property, will it change potentially down the road, or how does that work, if I may ask? Has that been looked at?
That's a good question.
Well, at the present time, it's still going to be assessed as a home. You know, I guess we're taking small steps to get these regulated, and you know, right now we need these rules on the books. You know, the assessment question, I think that'll, I hate to deflect the question, but I think, you know, that's going to work itself out down the road, Fred.
Okay. Well, just so it's not being overlooked, I guess, is the reason for raising the question.
And so it's fair.
And so it's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of it depends on whether or not it's, you know, if the owner's there, if it's, you know, one weekend, how you go about assessing that property. Let's say that it's my primary residence, and then one weekend I rent it out. You know, from an assessment standpoint, you know, there's some additional discussion that would have to take place.
I agree.
Yeah. But if it's a rental, that is a property, pick on one. Let's say it's a house down on Lake Malibu, and you've got it as an Airbnb, and it is turning over every weekend for different people. That's different now. That's no longer a residence. That's a hotel.
Sure.
I think the one across from Casanova's is like that. I don't think anybody's living in their short, you know, long term anymore. I think that's strictly B&B. I think that's the owner of that only rents that out short term. I think.
Really, my grandma's old house. Yeah.
My grandma's old house too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Really? Both of you?
Yeah, we're ne'er do wells.
Yep.
My grandma didn't.
So we're repealing the current bed and breakfast statutes or ordinance and incorporating them into this one. So what are the changes relative to current bed and breakfasts?
You mean as far as what's required of them?
What's that?
You mean as far as what's required of them?
Yeah, I mean, what
they
changes for them?
basically outlined was for them, I think not much. I think they still have to get a license in order to operate. Before it was a permit.
You're talking a county license for the B&B or a city?
This will be a city license that they have to get.
So previously they were required to get a conditional use permit. Through this, they'll have to get a license from the county and the city and renew annually.
Yep.
Oh.
Okay.
That's what hotels do.
Previously, they didn't have any stipulation to pay room tax for a traditional B&B. Now they will have to be paying room tax.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're looking for a motion to
Yeah,
hold a public hearing?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mary Claire.
So just for clarity, so the traditional, David, I just want to understand, the traditional B&Bs have been paying room tax and have been asked and have been having to submit that every quarter.
I guess it'd be case by case, but now it's spelled out in the new ordinance that they have to.
Right. I mean, the Phipps B&B has been doing that for years, paying the room tax. So they've been doing that for years. So does this still apply that this needs to be a primary residential place for the folks that are renting it out? This has to be their primary residence?
No, this works for unhosted and hosted.
One more time, could you repeat that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
This code applies to all like hosted and unhosted. So if they live there or not, it still would apply. If they're using it as bed and breakfast or Airbnb.
Okay.
So you're looking for a motion to hold the public hearing?
Yes.
Correct? So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. All right. I don't have anything. Anybody?
Move to adjourn.
What's the date of our next meeting, Tiffany?
It'd be May 5th.
When will
Here we
we
go.
be back to normal?
Sure.
Are we gonna have our next meeting with face masks on?
Please.
Let me just
I don't
look in
know if
my
the force
crystal
fields
ball
are going to hold.
All right.
Thank
We
you.
got a motion. Was there a second?
Sure.
Yes.
No, motion and a second to adjourn. It's good to see everybody.
Good to be seen.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.